guarding man-to-man, but there were times I had to get him man-to-man. And
favorite team that you guys love to face in your division?
Yours.
Yes, sir.
It's like the games like we play against the Raiders, you might get 3 sacks. When they had Jamarcus Russell, which I did. So I got 3 sacks on them in the first half, right?
Yeah.
And I'm ready, and they take Tommy Maddox.
What is going on, everyone? We are live in the JBW Solutions studio tonight, coming with another episode of West War Room Rivals. We have a very special guest tonight. It's going to change up a little bit of what you guys are normally accustomed to, but that's all right. We're very excited for this special guest. But first, let's give a shout out to some of our sponsors, starting with Troy and his group over at Kansas Field Ops, or Ops Kansas. And then we have JBW Solutions. We're in the JBW Solutions studio, thanks to Jeff and his team. And then we have, of course, Angie and her team over at Emporia State Federal Credit Union. And the new sponsors as of yesterday, the guys over at Rival Codes. We'll give you guys all those details at the end of the show with the link. Guys, without further ado, I'm going to let you do the honors as the Cubs fan.
That's what I'm talking about. Yep, tonight, ladies and gentlemen and fans all over, we are actually joined by a former MLB catcher. I like to introduce him as Cubs legend, Michael Barrett. He's in here tonight joining us.
What's going on?
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Perfect.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be a part of this group.
Yeah, we were excited to have you on. And, for the guys that are tuning in now, we got the chance to talk with you behind stage. And the energy you brought, like when you guys get excited, it makes us excited to do the show. So thanks again for your time.
And the Georgia Bulldog.
And he's a Bulldog.
Bulldog.
One of those. So Caleb, I know everyone knows you're a Tennessee fan. I'd like to point out that only one of those teams is actually in the playoff. So
rub it in there. Just
yeah, we will. And we'll get to some college. Yeah. We'll get to some college football talk here later on. But Maddie, go ahead and kick us off with your first question.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the Expos drafted Tom Brady 3 years before they drafted you. So, did you ever get a chance to play a little bit of catch and ball with Tom Brady before he became Tom Brady, I guess?
No, but I went shopping with my daughter and somebody said, "Are you Tom Brady?" And I said, "No, I wish." Actually, awesome. I believe Tom Brady and I were drafted the same year by the Montreal Expos, 1995.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, it was.
The Expos really screwed that one up when they took me instead of Brady. Now, Tom Brady, I believe, was taken in the 19th round that year. I was taken in the first round.
Yep.
Yeah, take that, Tom.
Yeah, take that, Tom.
Yeah. Well, I think that leads right into –
yeah, that's perfectly right up to my question is, what was it like getting drafted 28th overall? What was like the draft process like? And do you remember what it was like knowing or getting the call, or I guess back in 1995, what it was like getting the fax? I don't know.
Yeah.
About you going first round. Yeah, the little rotary phone. Yeah. What it was like getting that call and finding that out and what the process was like.
Yeah, it was great. Originally, we had some tryouts before the draft. The Phillies had one of these sandwich picks right after the Montreal Expos. And, the Braves had the pick, one of the picks before the Expos. When you're in high school and you're bearing down, that season, trying to get drafted, not knowing you're going to go first, second round, these teams come out and they may try you out. They may ask you to fill out questionnaires and stuff. And it's like, as a Braves fan growing up as a kid, you're like, oh yeah, the Braves you have every pick in the draft that the Braves have in your head, and then, it didn't work out that way where I slid down two picks later and was drafted by the Montreal Expos, which is a tremendous blessing. Don't get me wrong. But at the time, as a kid, you're hopeful of your hometown, organization, selecting you in the draft, and you're waiting for that phone call. only to hear from a local scout that it's not the Atlanta Braves, it's the Montreal Expos. And you're like, I had to be reminded that they had the best record in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the 28th that round, there were only 28 teams. That was before the next expansion. It's like, so it was an honor, a huge honor to be drafted by the team with the best record in baseball, to go to the 28th round. It just caught me off guard because it wasn't something I expected. It was, I want to go here and I may go here. And then I was taken right in the middle. It was like, oh man, like, holy cow, Montreal Expos. What is that going to be like? Who's the shortstop? And you start, going, looking up. Back then you didn't have the internet. All right. We didn't have the internet. You're like, you can't pick baseball American papers fast enough. Try to find out who's even playing shortstop for them. Will Cordero or who's their next guy in line, Grzelcyk, but starting to map out the depth chart already. But it was amazing. It was amazing when I got the phone call, and sliding into that first round was huge for me. That made all the decision, and signing or not signing, it made my decision that easy.
So before I get into my question, I'm curious about the MLB draft, because we've obviously had former NFL players on talking about the draft and the draft process for that. But I know MLB draft is a lot different because you can take high school kids and, all that. So kind of give our viewers kind of a walkthrough of maybe what the behind the scenes are of the draft and maybe how those come into fruition.
Yeah, it's changed so much, so years ago, you had sandwich picks, supplementary picks, supplemental picks for trades that may have happened. There were all these different rules. And I think in some ways, Major League Baseball's kind of simplified it, but it's still kind of complicated for viewers where it's different than other sports. I know they're starting to do a little bit of a lottery pick, which is exciting. I saw where the Chicago White Sox got the first pick of the draft today, which was announced. And I know for sports fans, that's exciting. That Major League Baseball is doing that now. That wasn't the case. It was the worst team picks first. And it was historically that way forever. And then, in baseball, we had two drafts for a while there. We had the June draft, and then we had another draft. So players were taken constantly. Now with the international signing of players, we rely less on national players, and there's less players taken, it seems like, every decade, in the draft at least. So, there's a lot to be excited about. There's a lot of great things that are happening. And then there's a lot of things that are happening around the draft that are equally as exciting because everybody loves that story of Mike Piazza getting drafted in the 62nd round as a favor to Tommy Lasorda, and then he ends up being a Hall of Fame catcher. Like, everybody loves that story. We're not going to have those stories as much in the same sense from national born players getting into the draft. There's something about getting drafted that's a part of that dream of playing in big leagues for every kid in America. Whereas international players, they've never experienced that. They've never even experienced that thought unless they've relocated to the United States to be drafted, which happened a lot. Like Henry Mateo, our second round pick the year I was drafted, moved from the Dominican to Puerto Rico to be drafted. So that's one way that an international player back in 1995 was able to get drafted, where a lot of times he might not have. So a lot of interesting things we could talk all night about, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Carlos Beltran was like right after me. So it's like, gosh, what were the Expos thinking? At the same time, great players sneak in there from all over.
And obviously, me being a Royals fan, I remember all about Carlos. So 3 years ago, we were able to take our first trip up to Wrigley. We live in St. Louis currently, so we hopped on a train, went up there to Wrigley for a weekend, sat with the bleacher bums for a weekend series. What's your favorite memory playing at Wrigley?
Oh, so many. Oh man. As an opposing player and as a actual Cub, I have so many memories there. But I got ejected the first time I ever got ejected in baseball. I was in Montreal Expo, and it was opening day at Wrigley Field, Expos versus Cubs. We ended up winning the game, but Joe Girardi was hitting. It was a check swing, and I asked Al Clark at first base for help, and you know, he didn't want to give the yes or no. And I'm like, what's going on here? You know, and Joe Girardi's like, hey, man, shh. And I'm like, no. I wanted to answer. Did he go or not? You know, and that turned into, you know, some jawing back and forth between me and the umpire, Rick Reed, and it ended up turning into an ejection. The worst part about it is Sandy Martinez, who is notorious for catching Kerry Wood's, you know, 20, however many strikeouts he had. I always forget, but, you know, that an amazing game. Sandy Martinez for the Cubs was with the Expos as my backup, goes in, blows out his arm, has to come out. Mike Mordecai, who's never caught before in his life, you know, finishes the game. We end up somehow winning, and Mike Mordecai gets the win as the catcher that day. It was one of the craziest games in probably Cubs history. And then as a Cubs player, you know, I mean, so many memories, back to back. Sammy Sosa, you know, behind Sammy Sosa, game-winning walk-off hit against Oakland A's on Father's Day. You know, in 2004, so many wonderful memories. I mean, every day walking that, just every day being a member of that organization was such a blessing. And I mean, any organization is a blessing, but, you know, Wrigley Field holds a special place in my heart. The fans, everything was awesome, you know. Very memorable experience. So a lot of great memories.
And I think Matt has a follow-up.
I do. So if you can probably see it over my right, I'm a avid Red Sox fan, huge Red Sox fan. And I do know you got to spend your final year with the Blue Jays. So what was it like playing in Fenway as an opposing player? David Ortiz.
So I went into Fenway that year hurt, and I didn't get to play, but I did go. I dressed out, and, you know, I remember sitting there like thinking, man, you know, I didn't really nobody owns the Red Sox. You know, I don't care what anybody says, unless you're like a Yankee or somebody that's an actual rival. You can't really say that you own, you know, an organization unless you're a rival, right? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Okay. You guys can say what they want to say now, you know, but Red Sox fans aren't going, oh my gosh, do you remember that guy with the, you know, the Houston Astros? He absolutely owned us, you know, like, I mean, he came in like back in the 80s, he might've came in once, right? He didn't own y'all. Like someone with the Yankees owned y'all, you know, if he was good against y'all, you know, like when we played the Cardinals, like I took pride in owning the Cardinals. Like that was part of my job, you know, but when I like to feel like I played well at Fenway Park, you know, even though like my first time in at Fenway Park, I kid you not, I'm taking batting practice, the Green Monster. I'm hitting balls out of there thinking, man, I'm going to have a good series. And I faced Tim Wakefield the first series, knuckleball. Yeah. I mean, like it was like, I don't know. It was like there was repellent on my bat. It was like baseball repellent was on my bat when I was swinging at his knuckleball. I was like, it wasn't happening. And then the next day facing Pedro Martinez. I mean, it was like facing 40 miles an hour to 150.
Yeah.
You know, and one of them might be at your head if you're not careful. So that was not a comfortable series. And I remember thinking like my best friend was living there, and I remember like we went out to eat after, and I was sitting on his patio like, what is happening right now? Why did I sign up for this?
That's awesome.
Caleb?
Yeah. So I guess my question is, tell us what it meant to you to win a Silver Slugger with the Cubbies.
Oh, well, that was awesome. You know, it took Piazza getting hurt to finally get one. I put together some good numbers.
Yeah.
But that was a tremendous honor. I remember when they called me to tell me that, you know, you'd received, you know, Michael, you received the Silver Slugger. I remember thinking, man, you know, what a blessing and how exciting that is. And like, how in the world did this happen this year, you know, of all years? Because I had pretty good years, you know, behind the plate. But like I said, all the stars lined up for that year for me to win it. And it's sitting right over there. I'd have Nixon get it, but he'd probably break it.
Yeah. We don't want to break it. No.
Absolutely not.
It's got that Cal Ripken Jr. glass on it.
That's amazing.
Nah, the Silver Slugger. He's like, what is a Silver Slugger?
Oh, come on. It means I was the best, all right?
Yeah. So
He's like, yeah, right. Those guys.
in that Silver Slugger season, is there like a moment that kind of stood out to you that you kind of knew that things were clicking, that you were, something special was going to happen that year?
Yeah, no. Dusty Baker was my manager, and he was awesome. He was very supportive. He was always encouraging me to continue to work and strive for the Silver Slugger Award. And we kind of fell short that year of reaching the playoffs, but he was awesome. And hey, reminding, right now you got to take care of your family. You got to take care of your at-bats. You got to make sure that you're just staying sharp no matter what the score of the game is, no matter how frustrated you are about not making the playoffs this year. You've had an unbelievable run. Let's keep this going. And he would sneak me in the 3-hole every once in a while where I had great protection, whether it was Derek Lee or Ramos Ramirez hitting after me. And so that was a huge vote of confidence. And I'm forever, grateful for that, and that's the kind of person he is.
You get to just name it all of including you, but all of my childhood, just memories of just sitting in a little back room watching y'all on WGN when it was still, on WGN, nationally. And it's just I think you, Derek Lee, and Aramis Ramirez were probably I don't know, the heartbeat of my Chicago Cubs soul. That's so just cool. Hearing you throw out some names, and Dusty Baker, anyone who's a baseball fan in general just knows that name and should just absolutely respect a guy like that just in general. So kind of cool to hear a story like that, and appreciate you sharing that with us, because I know
absolutely
those names were awesome.
Yeah, that year we worked really hard on so many aspects of the game, and I love some of the things that Dusty stands by. He stood by then all the way through, and he was so consistent. I think that's what makes, to me, great managers are that they are consistent. They're just consistent. Dusty was always consistent with his message, and I love that about him. And he was an offensive. He had to have had some of the best offensive catchers over the years. He just took pride in that, and it was like a tradition that he took pride in, and he allowed me to carry that torch for years with him. And we had such a great thing, and he would tell me a lot of times, he's like, Michael, I know you're hitting eighth. That a lot of different organizations you probably wouldn't be hitting eighth, but I need you to hit eighth. And I'm like, Dusty, whatever you need me to do, I'm just happy to be in the lineup. With these guys, and having the opportunity to watch Derek Lee, Ramos Ramirez, even in my first year, Moises Alou, Sammy Sosa, coming up to hit, watching each one of those guys on a daily basis. I learned something from them every time they went to the plate, and I studied them, and I watched how pitchers try to get them out. And I learned, tendencies, pitchers falling into tendencies. All of a sudden things started clicking for me offensively. And then having the opportunity to, hit up in the order with those guys behind me, and, it just made it that much more special.
So I know we'll get to some football questions here shortly, but I have some baseball questions that obviously when you played it and you actually got in, did a little coaching. So I'm curious as to what in today's game do you really, really like, and maybe something that, you wouldn't have what you wouldn't have messed with and you probably would have kept the same as from your era.
Yeah. So one thing, I was a catching coordinator, so I was in charge of the catching curriculum in the minor leagues, or, that was my main role the last 5 of the 7 years I was there. And, the battle was catching from the knee. So one ongoing debate right now is, I get asked, Michael, how do you feel about catchers from a knee? And I personally, did not stand by catching from a knee for a long, long time. And the reason for it is that I thought the automated strike ball system was coming earlier than it has. And I thought there was, I think it was 2017 or 18. I can't remember exactly when it was experimented with in the Arizona Fall League. When that happened, I thought that the automated strike and ball system was right around the corner any day now. It still hasn't been implemented to its entirety, but I think that's going to be a game changer in how catchers catch. So like I wasn't rushing to a knee with that in the back of my mind as the lead catching instructor. Though almost every organization is doing it now. The reason why I was concerned is that once that system takes place, it's not going to really matter how the catcher catches the ball at that point. It's going to be about other, statistics that they're going to start measuring, whether it's, blocking range or how many guys you're throwing out. And I wanted to protect the catchers the best I could, or at least that's the way I felt. Like if I could keep them in the understanding that, yes, everything that you're seeing that's trending is of value. It's great to catch from a knee if you can. If they'll let you do it. But, for me, I want to make sure I stay sharp blocking, because that analytic stat may become more important than anything down the road. Or, like runner on third. How many games this year were y'all watching where you saw a runner on third, runner scored, catcher on a knee, and you got pale, or you felt like you were in the back seat of a bus off-roading, right? When that run scored and the catcher just kind of tried to pick it. But that's what they're trained to do. So you can't get mad at the catcher. They're told not to, like, you just try to pick it. Your receiving stats are more important. That's going to help us win more ball games. So, you can't get mad at the catcher, but I know it's frustrating for baseball fans because, how many times have you ever put on the gear, you have baseball coaches yelling at you, get your butt up, get your butt up, get your butt up, get your butt up, right? Yeah. You don't see catches from a knee in Little League baseball very often.
No, and unfortunately, you kind of see a trend of kids starting to do what they see their favorite players doing. You see it in basketball. You obviously see it in football. So, it's only a matter of time before, you start seeing the certain things kind of transition over to youth baseball. And as a former high school coach myself, we would always try to, teach our guys not to do that, stay square. That way be able to keep everything in front of you. So, that's interesting. So I do want to kind of jump into some football, and I know Caleb's kind of itching at the bit to talk some college football. So obviously Georgia handled Alabama pretty easly. Kind of give us your thoughts on what Georgia may be bringing into this playoff.
I'm a huge Kirby Smart fan. First of all, I think I've become more of a Kirby Smart fan than a Georgia fan right now. It's crazy. Okay. But I love that. I love what he's bringing to that university. I think what was most impressive, obviously, holding Alabama to -3 or 4 rushing yards for the game. I don't remember the last time Georgia did that to Alabama ever, much less in a big game like that. Alabama, they had the opportunity to run the ball several times. It wasn't like a blowout. It wasn't like they were coming back. There's something to be said about in that game, a 28-7 score and holding them to -3 yards that should go in history books as one of the most impressive defensive games ever. One of the things the University of Georgia, University of Georgia more than likely holds them and shuts them out completely without one penalty that happened in the game. I liked that Kirby was able to maintain his cool for the most part, and got his boys to refocus. You saw the team actually huddled around some of the guys that might have made some of those mental mistakes at the end. I love that kind of stuff. I love it when teams come together like University of Georgia showed, and that's good coaching. But they came together. You saw the boys talking to one another on the sideline, pumping, everybody up, and that's kind of what got them through. And all of a sudden, it was 28-7, and they handled Alabama for the first time mightily. We have not seen that. I've not seen that in a long, long time. That was pretty cool as a Georgia fan.
Caleb, do you got one?
Yeah, have you had a chance to meet or get around any of the current Georgia coaching staff or anything like that? Just out of curiosity.
It's been a long, long time. Those guys would not remember me at all.
Really? Man. No, I actually, it hurts me to say this, but I'm actually a really big Kirby Smart fan myself. I think what he's done at Georgia is incredible. I was a Mark Richt guy too, so even though I'm a ball at heart, I love those guys. Do what?
Sounds like you're a Georgia fan, is what I'm gathering out of this. You just love all the coaches.
The coaches.
Yeah.
And Ladd McConkey. He's on my Chargers, so I like Ladd McConkey too. But
these guys have been around forever. Bobo's been around a long, long time. It's nice seeing him have success. The play calling I thought was really sharp, and I think some things are just coming together. I think they got a quarterback now that they trust with the play calling, which goes a long, long way. There's a long relationship that Bobo has with that family and that quarterback, and I'm excited about that. I know what that can feel like, as a coach, when you don't have necessarily, maybe the trust in that quarterback doing everything. We had our issues last year. I'm not exactly sure all the issues that were happening, but you could see it kind of breaking down as a Georgia fan, wondering what was going on, but everything just seemed clean. When there was a breakdown, the play still happened, and it didn't look like there was any fingers being pointing, that type of thing. Just good, old-fashioned football.
Matt, we'll go with you, and then we'll go Austin after that.
So this may be a surprise to all of you. So I've only recently gotten into college football, but do you have a favorite moment in college that you remember watching as far as like Georgia goes? Like any good rivalry games that you remember watching?
Oh man. So Larry Munson is, he's one of the best of all time. I don't know, like there's so many great memories. We used to watch the game on TV, but turn the radio up just to hear Larry Munson's voice, and so many memorable moments. Look at the sugar falling from the sky as a young 4-year-old. I'll never forget hearing that, when Herschel Walker, we used to watch those games. My dad used to coach football, so he would coach us up, and then our games would finish, and we would come out, and there'd be this long yellow extension cord from the bathroom connected to this like black and white TV over by the field, and it'd be the Georgia game, but it would be our car or truck with the window down, listening to Larry Munson, and that was all the color in the world that you needed. You know what I mean? It was like a HD screen TV, like big screen, like listening to Larry. He brought everything to life. And I mean, being in this industry, I encourage you, if you haven't, Matt, ever listened to Larry Munson, Google some of his stuff and imagine being a Georgia Bulldog fan. And some of the stuff he would say, you'd be like, man, where did he come up with that?
Yeah.
Those are the memories I have as a young kid, growing up and as a Georgia fan.
Make a note. Watch Larry Munson. There, I got you.
Yeah, Larry Munson. Look at the sugar falling from the sky. Yeah,
sugar falling. Gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, and I imagine it's kind of comparable to like Chiefs fans when you hear like Mitch Holt's voice, right?
Yeah.
Like he has some of those sayings, but his is more like you hear his voice and you just hear the passion and the energy, and he's everything that's like right about the sport and about him specifically, the Chiefs. So yeah, he's not wrong. That'd definitely be one to look up. Honestly, anybody who hasn't, not just you, Matt, but
Larry Munson is like Harry Carey.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Our guy. Yeah. So we are a rivalry show. I'm going to kind of just force you to say some bad things about a college football team in here for personal reasons only. I hope you dislike them. If not, that's okay. But basically just your feelings towards the Oklahoma Sooners football team.
Oh man, what are my feelings against the Oklahoma Sooners?
Yeah,
I'm just glad that I don't see them enough. I'm glad I don't see those guys enough. I don't really have anything bad to say about them. I know that I'm glad that I'm going to say this. This might sound crazy, but I'm going to say if you didn't live in Oklahoma or you didn't live in Texas or you didn't visit there at some point or you didn't meet or see two people that hated each other from Oklahoma and Texas, you wouldn't even know what that rivalry is about. But that's got to be one of the most bitter, ugliest rivalries ever. Let's be honest. Is it not? Like if we rank that in all the sports, that's got to be top 25. We ought to do a countdown. We ought to do a countdown, seriously. In all sports, top 25. It's almost like Seriously, it's almost like Wake Forest Duke basketball. Like it's one of those sneaky ones like most people don't know about.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No, you're
Woods,
right.
Nicholson.
And I asked that because you're right. My mom specifically is big Oklahoma, from Oklahoma. So I was hoping we could get some hate talk going towards the Sooners because she would have got a kick out of that. But you're not wrong. That Texas-Oklahoma rivalry, it is different. I'm not a fan in the middle of it, but I obviously see my mom and that crowd in the middle of it, and it is true hatred.
Yeah.
Like, it's not peaceful.
And then you meet somebody from like Texas. I got goosebumps thinking about this. And then Matt, you meet somebody from like Texarkana that hates them both. And you're like, what?
Yep.
You're from Texas.
Seriously.
What are you talking about?
Seriously.
Like, I like Arkansas. What? Are you okay?
What would
Oh, good. I'm getting all my football college 101 from you, so I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I was saying, like, I hope y'all got a kick out of that last comment because I only can
No, it
say
was
that
good.
because I played with some guys, played baseball with guys from Texarkana, man, and they would talk like that, and it just cracked me up. I'm like, man, you know, I thought Georgia Tech was uncivilized, but really, I mean, no, it's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah, it is. That was my
That was
question.
yours? All right.
Yeah, that was. I was hoping to get some Oklahoma hate out of it, but instead we got some good some laughs out of that.
Yeah, we did.
we did? So now that kind of makes me curious on the baseball side of this real quick. Outside of the Red Sox, Yankees, would you put the Cubs Cardinals in there at all?
Oh, absolutely. Cubs Cardinals is another one of those sneaky, bitter rivalries that, like, until you're like in the heat or until you grow up or you're around it, like, I highly recommend going to like a Cardinals Cubs. You know, it's kind of like it's different than the Red Sox. It's kind of like Red Sox Yankees. I never played in that as a player, but I always viewed like it was like it's kind of like trying to think of a good example, like a Notre Dame Northwestern type rivalry in a weird way. It's kind of like one of those rivalries that's like bitter hatred, but like you wouldn't know that like Cardinals fans hated Cubs fans as much as Cubs fans hated Cardinals fans until you actually like got to know them.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Because Cardinals are like, we've won the World Series, 12 times or whatever, 15. I don't even know how many times they won it, 12 to 15 times. The Cubs are like, we've won it twice. And it's like, and they're going back and forth, and it's like, I mean, forgive me. I know that I don't even know how many every organization's won. I probably screwed that up, and it'll cost me my job here and everything. But,
Nobody cares about the Cardinals.
yeah, okay. But at the end of the day, I'm like, it's one of those things where you wouldn't know that Cardinals fans are not friendly toward Cubs fans, and rightfully so. But you wouldn't know it until you've actually like been around it to see it for yourself. And you're like, wow, that was not a very nice thing to say. And they're the nicest fans in the world. They will cheer on opposing teams. And then, if the Cubs did something, they'll be like, that's the worst Cub player I've ever seen in my life. And then they'll say something. You're like, whoa, where did that come out of where did that come from? And they're like, oh, Michael Barrett's a good player. He's a good player. Yeah, Michael Barrett. You have to know what I'm talking about, and it's awful. No, and you're like, where did that come from? It was like that was not nice.
Yeah, we moved
Cubs fans are like a little bit more like vocal.
Yeah, we moved to St. Louis 6 years ago, almost 6 years ago, and one of the first things I did was go to a Cubs Cardinals game at Busch Stadium, and I can say, with confirmation, that everything Michael Barrett is saying right now is accurate.
Yeah, they were. Well, do you remember what year that was?
2022, 21?
It would have been 21. Well, it would have been 21.
Yeah,
yes.
They were like, oh, that Schwarber guy, he's a really good player. And then they were like, and he hits a home run, and they're like, wow, that was a good hit. And then they're like, that Schwarber guy, he can't do that.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? You're like, can I have another Bud or Weiser, please? You're like, yeah.
Like, why are you screaming in my face right now? I'm just sitting here watching a game.
Right, yeah. It gets up quietly, like fast.
It does. I love it.
Caleb, you go, and then we'll go Matt after you.
Since we're talking about rivalries, do you have like a favorite Tennessee-Georgia rivalry moment that you know that you have?
What was the Hobnot boot? What was that Hobnot
Oh,
pass? You remember that?
yes.
Oh man, that was a big win for Georgia. Oh man, it was what is it? Was a Hobnot nail? I can't even. We got him a Hobnot nail boot pass or something. Larry Munson talking about, and I remember thinking, what did he just say? Like that was a big win. And like I said, that's a big rivalry for us because I mean, like, you know, I remember seeing Peyton Manning in Tennessee. I remember going to Tennessee to watch a game when Peyton Manning was there, thinking that University of Georgia will never beat Peyton Manning and will never beat Tennessee ever again. What happened? You know, and then all of a sudden things turn around. Mark Richt slowly kind of turns things around, and you know we've got something to be proud of again. And some of those big wins against Tennessee, as you know, I mean the rivalry extends into recruiting, and Tennessee, Georgia, always dipping into same states, you know, and it gets ugly too. But I remember some of those games, you know, and then Josh Dobbs was one of my favorite guys to watch. He was a local kid in Alpharetta, my hometown, and he was a very good baseball player. And I used to work with him as a baseball player. And he had a scholarship to go play baseball at Arizona State, ended up turning it down to go to Tennessee. And I remember him single-handedly beating the Dogs one year. And I remember being like, no, Josh, don't do it. No. And yeah, he did. He single-handedly beat the University of Georgia one year and broke my heart. And I'm like, I'm never giving him another baseball lesson again.
Hey, I will say that's my favorite part of that rivalry. That was such a good game for my Vols. Obviously, I don't think we've won since, but
well, I mean the Vols. I mean they're consistently putting up good programs now. It's a matter of time. Let's be honest. It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
I mean every what I've seen, and this is forgive my ignorance. You guys are way more into this than I am right now, but I feel like how many good quarterbacks are there out there that can really bring home a national championship? It's just a matter of time before, you know, that one guy like that one Peyton Manning comes back or something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And,
sure.
you know, it felt like the last 3-4 years that Tennessee had that guy, and it was just a matter of them staying healthy, just like anywhere else, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maddie, go ahead.
Caleb, there's no hope. Don't listen to him. No hope.
See what
I
they
guess,
do to me. Go ahead, Matt.
Michael, we call him Ned Flanders. He's the Ned Flanders of the group. I don't know if you watch The Simpsons or not, but
yeah, I've watched a little bit of Simpsons.
there you go. He's our Ned
We were
Flanders.
playing Fortnite. My son was playing Fortnite the other day, and Ned killed him. I was like, what happened?
I have a dark streak, guys.
That's not the Ned I remember.
Yeah, right.
You're not Ned.
I mean, this is West War Room Rivals. We could talk about this. They have, I mean, Fortnite's gotten crazy.
I need you to be Fortnite and Ed. Yeah, I need you to be.
We need Fortnite to sponsor us.
There we go.
Ned. And you need to wear your Simpsons shirt, Ned. Yes.
Jot that down, Caleb.
Jot it down.
That's a good idea, dude. I'm gonna do that.
Sticking on the topic of rivals here, you know, like I said, I've only recently gotten into college football, but even before then, one of the games that I've always watched every year, never miss a game, is Army Navy. You know, my dad is a Navy veteran. I'm currently serving in the Navy, so I always watch that game. Who do you think wins the Army Navy game this year?
Ooh, good question. I'm not saying this because you're Navy, but I think Navy's going to win it this year.
Yeah.
Good to know. That's a good choice.
That's like right answer.
Right
answer.
Yep. No, I really do. I think Navy's going to pull it out. Don't you? I mean, I haven't seen their records lately, but I think Navy looked really strong the last time I watched them play a little bit.
They have.
Yeah, they're having a pretty good year.
Blake Horvath is doing well, and
that's his.
That's it.
Yeah, Blake Horvath. Yep.
Yeah.
And
So
look at. I mean, the great thing about this year. Let's be honest. The greatest thing, not just the success that Navy's had this year, but like the success that Vanderbilt's had, the success that Indiana's had. This is exciting. This is where good coaching is rising to the top. So I love to see that, more than anything. And even Caleb said it with Kirby. I think what's been most fun about watching Georgia grow into the program that it is having someone worthy at the helm.
Yep.
A good person,
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to stick on the rivalry talk a little bit just because that's kind of what we like, but we're going to throw it into the NFL a little bit. I know you're a college guy, but is there an NFL rivalry? And it doesn't have to be with like your team or anything, but Packers, Bears, Raiders, Chiefs.
Oh yeah, I watched the Packers Bears game the other day.
Yeah, is that one of your favorite, or what is your favorite?
Yeah, I love that one.
Yeah, did you ever get to
cold
Lambeau?
Weather? I like watching those old football games. Cold weather. I mean, it was 6 degrees on the field. Those guys, no shirts on. I mean, like the helmet guys are helmet to helmet. Chips are flying off. I mean, those dudes, like literally, like you're seeing how tough those guys are in those conditions. Like the last gladiators of professional sports. Like, I mean, right there. Like head to head. I mean, and they're not even the biggest guys on the planet, but they're still like just physical and they're just crushing into each other. And you're like, golly, man, how are they even taking the next snap? Like, this is crazy. But I love that stuff. Like, those are great rivalries to me. The Falcons, they have a great team. And I remember going and watching them when Vic was quarterback playing the Bears back in the day when I was a Cub. And it just wasn't the same, like the old Green Bay Packer hatred, and like some of the Falcons, are kind of backdated. Some of the Falcons rivalries are backdated to where like I don't think a lot of people realize that like the 49ers and the Falcons were in the same division for a long time. Then the Falcons didn't have success because the 49ers were just good. Montana, we got prime time in the draft and we thought that was going to be it. We thought we were back on the map, prime time was going to, and then Jerry Rice and all we're like, oh my gosh, Jerry Rice. Oh, okay. He can't be stopped. Not even prime time can stop him. What are we going to do? But that's why were the 49ers ever in the same division as the Atlanta Falcons? Come on, people.
Oh yeah.
It's
wild.
But that was a rivalry.
Close.
Yeah, it was.
That was one of our rivals.
Yeah. So playing in Chicago with the Cubs, you obviously had the Bulls, Blackhawks, Bears. Is there ever like a fun, like a game that you were always like wanting to go to with one of those teams?
Yeah, I loved. Oh man, I was blessed with the opportunity to go to all of those games. I didn't get to go to a Blackhawks game, unfortunately. But I did have the opportunity to see the Bulls play, which was exciting. That was after Michael Jordan days, which kind of stinks, but it was still a lot of fun to go watch them play. And then, the rivalries there, the Sox, Cubs Sox rivalry. We're embarking on the 20-year anniversary of the punch and that day. So it's like surreal. It seems like it happened yesterday when I start talking about it. And like what a great, city for sports. I mean, it's really, arguably the best, but, you respect, New York and its history. I just wish I could have seen back in the day the Brooklyn Dodgers go up against the New York Giants. And I wish I could have seen something like that, like a round robin, like a three-team round robin, just to see what that would have been like. Back in the day, that's kind of like what Chicago feels like to me,
Yeah, Matt, will go you and then Caleb.
So is there like a favorite NFL player that you enjoyed watching? Like that I don't know if you ever met one and like that was kind of like your buddy outside of baseball?
Yeah, no, I had a lot of respect for those guys. I started to train with Brian Urlacher's trainer. That Chip Smith had a huge impact on my life as an athlete. I started training with NFL combine guys, And the guy famous for training Brian Urlacher, I hired him one off season and we went to work, and he made a huge impact, like I said. And I had a chance to get to meet Brian and his family, and what a great guy. And watching him play, the respect that he commanded on a football field, the way he commanded and controlled the field, what a great guy to just emulate, sport to sport. I like to try to take things that I learned from those guys, Michael Jordan, all these greats. But NFL wise, who else? Looking at I love quarterbacks. I know I loved playing quarterback as a kid growing up. Brett Favre, Steve Young, even Dante Culpepper. I like these are guys that when I met Steve Young in my last year playing with the Toronto Blue Jays, he came in to see us when we were playing the Oakland A's, and I remember meeting him, and I remember getting that nervous kid-like feeling even after the career that I had. Like when I first met him, like, oh my gosh, this is Steve Young, like. This is awesome,
Awesome.
And he was just such a good dude and just very respectful and giving with his time. And, those guys, they look at us the same way. They look at baseball guys like we could they couldn't hit a baseball. We couldn't do the things they could do, but we certainly respected the crap out of them. And it was fun getting to see those guys. But those are some of the names, quarterbacks mainly.
Mm-hmm.
No. Brian Urlacher, that's a name right there. You're going right to the peak of, like, across sports. You're starting to mention the peak of sports for me personally. Probably everyone, that just felt like the money spot for sports.
Absolutely. And my wife was a huge Steve Young fan too. So
yeah. What a class act! Just a class act.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the crazy thing about him was that he was behind Montana for how long? How many years did he sit back and wait for his turn?
Yep.
Crazy. My question is, what's your favorite rivalry moment of any of the games that you've played in? Like as far as like the White Sox, is it the punch? What's your favorite rivalry moment?
Yeah, I mean, AJ and I duked it out. We literally duked it out. Like offensively speaking, after that punch, it was like he wasn't going to let me outdo him. I wasn't going to let him outdo me. If you look at statistically,
yes,
what we did after the punch between the two of us, I need to go back and look it up, but him probably more so. I got to give him credit where it's due, but I mean, he would hit a home run, I would hit a home run. It was like back and forth. It was like crazy. It was like we were still going at it, but offensively speaking, and doing pretty doggone good job, or the best we could back behind the plate, calling the game in the midst of all of that happening. But
Yeah.
I remember going, I think it was like 4 for 4 off of Burley one game after the fight, and remember thinking like, why can't I do this every day?
I just fight more often.
Why can't I be like into the game more like this all the time? And AJ, I'm sure, said the same thing. I think he hit a walk off, or no, not a walk off. They were visitors at Wrigley Field. That was an emotional game where he hit a home run to go up in the late innings, and it was just chaotic. But him and I were going at it still, not to be outdone by the other after the punch and after the fight. And I don't know who had better numbers, but we had some doggone good games after that. Man, between the two of us going back and forth.
Yeah, no, that's easily one of my favorite memories of any of my favorite teams and rivalries. And yes, we don't like the White Sox, but like he said, give credit where it's due. AJ was a damn good catcher in his career too, right?
Oh man, I'll tell you another good rivalry is Padres Dodgers. So I got traded to the Padres.
Yep.
And the only thing was crazy about that, like I remember the first series, we were driving from San Diego to LA to play, and I remember thinking, okay, this is cool. Like we're gonna have basically another couple of home games, like this, we're not far at all, and the traffic was brutal. And we're like, okay, screw that, scratch that. We're going to be staying in LA while we're there. And on the way there, Adrian Gonzalez car breaks down and we're like, oh my gosh, our best player's car broke down on the highway. He's going to be worn out because it's like 120 degrees. How are we going to win this game? I'm like, the Dodgers planned this. They had to have spikes on the road. Only Dodgers fans would do that to the nicest guy in baseball. Like what, it's another sneaky rivalry of sorts. Yeah.
Well, Matt, you live down there. You're kind of familiar with the San Diego Padres and stuff. So do you have any memories that you like it? Have you gone to a Padres game?
Yeah. So actually, back when I was stationed out here in 2012, and it was the opening day, and usually what the Padres, again, they're very military friendly, and they got our command to come, unveil the flag on opening day, and they opened up against the Padres. So I remember the stadium was already packed because, again, you're opening up against your division rival. And I just remember, like, downtown San Diego, it was like a big hodgepodge of Dodgers and these fans, just kind of like, you had Dodgers fans on one side of the street, you had the Padres fans, and they're just chirping at each other. And I'm like, when did the Red Sox come? So
yeah.
I just got the flag, dude. So.
Is that the moment you got to meet Fernando Tatis, or was that a different one?
That was a different one. One. Yeah. Fernando Tatis wasn't in yet.
Yeah, the crazy thing is those guys, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. grew up in front of my eyes playing with the Expos. Their dads were we were playing in the big leagues together, and watching those guys now play, it's awesome. I love watching those guys have success.
I know for us, we were talking during the World Series about Vladdy Jr., and we were just like, dude, there's parts of his game where you can kind of see his dad in there. And
yeah, but Daddy Vladdy was hitting those pitches off the dirt.
Yeah.
Daddy Vladdy. Daddy Vladdy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're up.
Yeah, Daddy Vladdy. That's what his son's damn good though too. Like sometimes you see where it doesn't quite pan out, but Junior's a good ball player, like for sure. I love watching it. I was rooting like hell for the Blue Jays to pull that off because Dodgers. But anyway, we're gonna have one
fun series.
It was.
It really was.
Yeah,
and that's what you can ask for, honestly.
Yeah, I love listening to people kind of pick the game apart, and at the end of the day, the Dodgers won, and it's like you sit there and you listen to all the back and forth. At the end of the day, it was a great series. It was great for baseball. And I couldn't be more proud of the way the game has evolved and how the boys are playing. I'm just super pumped about both managers. I thought handled everything with a great deal of respect. And, as a baseball guy, that's really kind of all I want to see at the end of the day. Seeing Mark Pryor, former teammate out there, as a pitching coach is crazy to me, but he's doing a great job helping those young kids. It's just so many guys out there. It's just it's fun. That was a good year for me. Good year of baseball. Even though I would have liked to probably have seen the Blue Jays pull it off, it was still fun to see a great series go Game 7. Yeah.
Well, and especially going into it, right? Like most people have the Dodgers in 4 or 5, right? Just because they're the Dodgers, and being able to see the fight and the grit and just like the resistance of the Blue Jays to just give up. Like they just kept bouncing. I loved it. It was a great baseball series, even though the Dodgers won.
It goes back to pitching and defense, right?
Yep.
Like some of those plays, all the home runs, the timely home runs and everything, but there's something to be said about pitching and defense, and it reigns true to this day.
Yes.
Seeing that kind of leads me into my one final baseball question I have before our little lightning round that we have that we like to ask fun questions. But like he said, he's a Royals fan. We're kind of from that area, so I also enjoy the Royals. Cubs are still my squad through and through, but, we grew up going to the K all the time. So I want to ask your opinion on Bobby Witt, because to me, I think I'm biased because we like the Royals, but I feel like he's just everything right about a baseball player, from preparation to hustle to just like everything. So I kind of just want to get your opinion on Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah, I had the chance to so the Washington Nationals hosted the All-Star game the year that he was on the prospects team.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he came in. No, the high school. He came in as a high school player.
Yep.
And so we had the chance to watch him, and I just remember watching him as a high school player, thinking this guy is a stud. I was thinking, man, what position does dad play again? You know, like where did this guy get all this athleticism? And I was like, this is awesome. And you know, he's the type of player too. I think respects the game the right way, goes about things the right way, and that's a great organization for him. What a great fit. You know, I know some guys in an organization and how they try to do things. And I mean, he's like a beacon of hope for what that organization has stood for so many years. And to see him carry that torch is pretty cool. He's easily the next George Brett-like influence.
Oh, yeah.
One of those popular influencers on TikTok. Like that's him. I'd say he's hopeful in so many ways and how he goes about and carries himself in the game, and hopefully continues to do that. You know, that the game needs that.
Yeah, absolutely. I do agree with that 100%. And you always talk about the hustle. I remember George Brett saying he wanted to hit a ground ball as hard as he could to second base just to get thrown out by a half a step, just so he could, you know, show everybody, you know, that's what hustle does. And Bobby obviously is basically, I mean, he outside of Salvador Perez, who's obviously my favorite Royal, Bobby Witt's definitely there. So we do have a lightning round that we like to kind of wrap up with. And so besides you, who is the greatest Cubs catcher ever?
Oh, this is a lightning round. We jumped. Okay, the best Cubs catcher besides me, Castillo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt.
Yeah. So, if you were to play in the NFL, what position would you want to play?
Quarterback.
Yeah, you said that earlier, and I was like, okay, yeah.
Yep, I can see it. Yeah.
And then besides AJ Pierzynski, what do you consider the biggest hit of your career?
Trying to think. I have some pretty good ones. We'll have to come back to that. Skip.
Okay.
Caleb.
So, do y'all have any good ones?
Yeah,
I want to come back. You know what? My son, I have 98 career home runs, and my son, like the other day, he comes up to me and goes, "Dad, why didn't you do 100 and then quit?"
Dang, you're going to come back and get 100 now.
Hey, Phillip Rivers is doing it.
Hey,
I was like,
5,000. There you go.
I was like, seriously, son? So I guess my favorite was my 98th home run, my last one that I hit in Minnesota as a Blue Jay.
Okay.
That was probably my favorite one. But I wish I had gotten two more. A lot of favorite first hit, first home run against Paul Bird, Philadelphia. Very memorable. That was 1998, long time ago.
I remember Paul Bird.
Yeah.
We went and watched him at the K a lot.
Yeah.
So we do have one final question here. We like to ask our former athletes and coaches and stuff that we've had on. We like to
Wait, I got one for Caleb. I mean,
Okay.
Caleb, you're a Tennessee fan. You got to ask every baseball guy from here on out how they feel about Tony Vitello.
Oh, yeah, you do.
No
That's true.
kidding.
That's got to be like, you got to write that down. That's got to be your go-to. I mean, like,
that's
I'm
what I
like
should
sitting
add.
here
That's
waiting
what I-
for you. Like, yeah, I'm going to say that I'm an advocate of his success. I want him to do well. Okay, for a game of baseball on millions of different reasons. I kind of seeing where Buster's head's at on this. I want this to work, but I also want college baseball to open up to guys like me. I want college baseball to be open to hiring guys like me that may not have a college education. You know, I want them to see value in it more than, and I want it to be fair, you know, in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
No, that's a great call out, actually.
I love that.
Yeah.
Great call out.
There you go, Tino. That was a great question, buddy.
Yeah,
thank
I
you.
love that
Thank
one.
you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, so our final one we like to direct towards our former and current athletes and coaches and stuff, just to see what their answer is. But, you know, when people hear the name Michael Barrett, what do you hope people remember about you?
Class act.
Love it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm not sure
That's
that punching people is synonymous with class act, but
Well,
That's a class act in a rivalry, though.
Yeah.
When we went to Wrigley, and it was Cubs versus Royals when we went, and it was pretty relaxed because Royals fans aren't the worst, right? Like Royals and Cubs were a bunch of lovable losers at that point, right? Like that's nicknames and everything, but it was a good time. But they were telling us stories. I think it was about the week or two before,
weekend before,
the White Sox were there, and they literally had to have police come in and arrest like groups of people at a time for just fighting. So what you did was it was a class act when it comes to a rivalry.
Even hockey has 2 minutes for instigating. All right, so
there you go.
Honestly,
I did my time.
sports need a little more of that.
I agree.
It'd be healthy, I think, to bring some of that back, to maybe not police it to the extent that players don't feel like they can be themselves.
Yep.
exactly.
You know.
Yeah. I mean, I can't speak for everyone when I say we probably don't want to see brawls on a baseball field. I kind of do. You know, I want to see George Brett storming out of the dugout multiple times. You know, I want to see
Manny.
Cox's, right?
So in 2000, I played winter baseball in Puerto Rico. I literally tell people this, and they think I'm kidding, but I'm like, we went to the baseball field to fight, and we hoped that a baseball game broke out.
I love that.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I was like, I'm not, and after a while, I was like, okay, I'm done. I can't fight anymore. I don't know how this is productive. I'm ready to play baseball. I'm ready to go back to the United States and play baseball. Thank you. But it made me a better player, you know. But that's what a lot of those players, and you don't even understand, like they would have like bull rings. You know how they have in football, the old bull rings? Mm-hmm. Like in baseball, it was like you would get in a fight and they'd be circled up around you like hockey, and they would you were to fight this guy until it was over, until you had gotten it out of your system. And then you went back to the field and you started playing again. I was like, hold on a second.
That's awesome.
I was like, aren't I ejected right now? Like, aren't I supposed to be ejected? Like, I'm good. I got in a fight. I'm ready to be ejected. They're like, no, you're going back out. Go back out and catch. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
Those are the stories I love. Like,
if you can get Ruben Sierra on your show, please have me back and let me be part of the interview, because I want to ask him and be like, Ruben, you realize that his fights in Puerto Rico are legendary. They're like Mike Tyson. Like seriously. I wish I could have seen him. I want to come back to your show when you have Ruben Sierra on your show.
Absolutely.
We want you to come back.
Yeah, you can come back anytime. Honestly, that was a blast. But Michael, we're gonna give you a chance. If you want anyone to follow you on your socials or anything like that, we'll give you a chance for people to let you plug your social so people can come check you out. I hope everyone realized the energy and stories and just all around awesomeness he brought tonight is just kind of who he is. So I don't know if you want to plug your socials real quick so people can come follow you.
Man, I appreciate it. I appreciate being back on the show. I'll be more prepared for the socials at another time. I wish y'all nothing but the best. Good luck, and let's keep rocking these shows, man. It's great for fans across the board. I'll be more prepared for football next time.
No, that was awesome.
Oh, good. You
really
were
happy
awesome.
Night went, yeah.
Those baseball stories, and then obviously you just being a Cubs legend for me, myself. You know, I got the Wrigleyville shirt on tonight to just know how awesome it is, Cubs Nation.
I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate you guys having me, and good luck.
Absolutely. All right.
Thank you,
Mr. Barrett. You are free to go whenever you like. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and he is gone. Guys, what'd you think?
Gone. He's out. That was awesome, man.
That was
cool. A lot of fun.
He seems like a really good dude, really energetic guy.
That's Cubs for you guys, all right?
Right.
Just know that's what it's like.
He brought up Tim Wakefield, man.
He did bring up Tim Wakefield.
And Pedro.
But then, that's – I don't know. I mean, I grew up playing baseball. I grew up watching baseball. It was obviously my first sport. Obviously, I transitioned over to football at some point. But Tim Wakefield, Pedro Martinez, that Red Sox team, Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, all those guys. Yeah, so I mean, that was a little bit of nostalgia for us. We'd always talked about the players, kind of, the nostalgia for them as they're talking about those playing days. And obviously, I'm at the age now where I'm like, shit, I remember every single one of those guys that he's talking about. And
yeah, when he went to Derek Lee and Aramis Ramirez, like that was a heart and soul of where like my fandom of Cubs began, was like that around that time. And he named them, and I'm like, Derek Lee and Aramis Ramirez was, Sammy Sosa, obviously every Cubs fan loved or loves him. I mean, obviously the things he went through might have you feeling a certain type of way, but yeah, when he started naming some of these names, and I was just like, Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor, like Mark Pryor was my dude, but couldn't stay healthy to save his life. And for him to name drop him and mention all the good he's doing right now in the game still, like it was really awesome. Michael Barrett had a lot of energy and awesome stories.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah. Big time.
Talked about the Silver Slugger. Yeah, it's one of those where I think for me, and I know for him too, growing up watching WGN on a little TV that our grandma had out in her back room, and it was just like that big, and it had the VCR connected to it, but you'd always be able to get WGN on there, and Harry Carey, all those guys, and
Bob Brenly, Lynn Casper.
It's one of those where, it brings up some childhood stuff. So I get it. We're a football show, but at the end of the day, I kind of actually did enjoy that a little bit. So do you guys have anything before we close it out here?
No, that was awesome. I mean, hey, look, he even brought up Brian Urlacher. I mean,
he did.
So
he did. And so we'll have our pregame show that's coming up this weekend. Cody had a big day today. I'm glad to see. I hope he posts some of those pictures on socials. Cody was looking pretty spiffy today.
Always proud of our guy.
The dude was dressed to impress, and he actually
talk about a tall drink of water. Caleb, you got competition.
You do have competition, Caleb. So everyone in the chat, congratulate Cody on a big day. They opened up the hotel finally, but it's just getting started for him. He'll be back. I know he's anxious to come back, but at the end of the day, that was kind of his main priority at this time. But we stay in touch with him, and he's hoping now that the official opening was today that things will start getting back to normal. But he'll be back with us this weekend for our pregame show. Matt, we have a guest a week from tonight, I believe, on the 17th.
Yep, we have Mario Vatans, Mile High Mario. He's going to come on, and we're pretty much going to be previewing week 16 at that point. So,
my gosh,
week 16, my lord.
Yeah, it's
flying.
It's flying by, and I think it sucks because Denver's been good this year, Matt, and we're kind of just like, let's keep this going. Like, why does it already have to be almost the end of the season? So, yeah, I'm excited to talk Mario. I do encourage you guys to go check him out on X, watch some of his videos. The dude's high energy. He's absolutely just, he's a no nonsense guy too. So he's gonna bring the energy, and he's gonna bring basically the realistic stuff for everyone to hear too. So with that being said, let's go ahead and start shutting her down. Let's give some shout outs to Beard Club. Let's give a shout out to Shank It Golf, Badger Barrel, and all of our affiliates. And then we have, our main sponsors. That's going to be Troy and the guys at Field Ops, Kansas. And then Angie and her team, Emporia State Federal Credit Union, War Room's Banking of Choice, as well as the Shovic's Banking of Choice. And then the big one, JBW Solutions. We again are coming to you live from the JBW Solutions studio. I actually had the polo on tonight. Actually, it's very comfortable. I wish I could actually wear this to work, but since it has the logo on there, they probably won't let me. But I do like this. So Jeff, thanks for the merch again. Thanks for the hat. And then Caleb, we got a new sponsor. Talk about Rival Codes.
Yes, sir. Rival Codes. Their slogans. It's not just apparel; it's territory. That's kind of what they go by. Super excited for this sponsorship. But yes, definitely there should be. I think there's a link down below, if I'm not mistaken. And use the code Rivals10 for 10% off all purchases.
And we get to introduce their brand new segment this weekend. Those of you that watched last night, we talked to you guys about what that segment is, but now you're going to have to tune in this weekend for the pregame show to see what that segment's all about. Boys, as always, I appreciate everyone over here in the chat, everyone who tuned in tonight. So stay tuned, and we will see you guys next weekend.